So welcome back to a new video of mine. I'm recording this right after the video about the Zimmer board, and now it's gonna be about my laptop, and let's dive right in. So this is the laptop we're talking about. It's an Asus Vivobook S15 OLED with an AMD CPU in it. I'm just turning down the brightness so that we don't eat that much power, because I need to use this later on to edit this video. So I'm using this laptop for like about 2 months now, and was it actually 3? I don't know for sure, but I'm using this and I've replaced Windows like after a day or two with Fedora Linux, which is the distribution that we are looking at right now. I'm just pulling up console here and showing you my NeoFetch, because that's the whole system information. So we're talking about Vivobook from Asus, right now running on Fedora Linux 37 KD Plasma Edition. I've actually downloaded it as the Workstation Edition, so the one with GNOME installed, and I've replaced GNOME with Plasma because it just works better for me right now. We're running the Linux kernel 6.1.14-200 Fedora kernel 37, and there you can see the packages we have installed. Yes, I'm using snap packages for some stuff because I wanted to package something and it was easier to do it in Snap. The resolution of this display is 1920 by 1080. We are running Plasma 5.27.2 right now, and it's rocking an AMD Ryzen 7 6800H, an 8-core CPU with 16 threads, base clock of 3.2 gigahertz. We're running an AMD Radeon 680M, which is a very, very great integrated GPU, and that with 16 gigs of RAM, because there wasn't a higher configuration available in my country. So let's go through it. I've used this laptop for a lot of time now, and I really appreciate it because I was sitting on an Acer one with a Ryzen 5 4500U, a 6-core CPU without multi-threading, and it just has plain old Vega graphics, and it actually fell apart. My fiance has it right now, and she is running Zorin OS on it. It just runs nice. So yeah, I've used this PC extensively now. I'm using it to game and to work on it and to do school stuff, and soon the stuff for my employment. I'm not telling you who's my employer, but they're well paying. And so my thought about it right now is Asus wasted performance. Why? Because they don't have an official Linux support for it. If you know about something about Linux and laptop companies and PC companies, we have Tuxedo and System 76, who are just releasing Linux laptops and workstations and even servers, which is pretty nice. Those are darn expensive, but sure, they're on Linux. And Lenovo is kind of a mixed bag, because Lenovo has Linux laptops and Windows laptops, and those are the same laptop but with another operating system. So they're actually paying attention to using hardware which is 100% compatible with Linux. So as this is an Asus laptop and not one from Lenovo, that's not the case on my laptop, because my laptop is not 100% compatible with Linux. For example, my camera button, I have a slider to just cover my camera, but I have a button for it too, to deactivate the camera, and that button doesn't work. And it worked on the Acer one actually. So we are looking at Fedora and on this laptop, and I'm pretty excited for the next Fedora release, because we're supposedly getting HDR support on Fedora at that release, so at 38. And right now Linux doesn't have HDR support, and that's the downside for this laptop with Linux instead of Windows, because, well, Windows supports HDR, right? Linux doesn't to this day. And so why am I saying that Asus is missing out on performance on their laptops is because over and over again I've seen benchmarks on Geekbench and other benchmark programs which are intercompatible with different OSs, and the Linux results are almost always way better than the one on Windows. Why? Windows is bloated. So that's kind of the part where they're missing out on performance day to day, and this is professional, like it's meant for professional work in video programs and other editing, and you really feel the performance, and I think they're just missing out on it running on Windows. Yes, there are just professional grade applications on Windows that you can't use on Linux, or which don't work that great on Linux. For example, Adobe Premiere Pro just doesn't run on Linux at all. Microsoft Office doesn't run on Linux, but we have like OpenOffice and LibreOffice, which are filling the gap just perfectly. And adding up to this is KDE with their own application for video editing called Kdenlive. So Kdenlive is a bit of a mixed bag, because it just introduces some bugs sometimes, just randomly with patches, and so that's an issue. But in its core, it's a very nice professional grade application for video editing, and it just works fine. And if you really want to like pay money for something, and you just want to have proprietary stuff on your Linux machine, DaVinci Resolve, and it doesn't work perfectly on Linux. A lot of the features on the free version on Windows are missing on the free version on Linux. But as I said, Kdenlive is there filling in the gap, and it's completely free, and it's a very nice video editor, And so yeah, it's pretty nice, and I hope that Asus is kind of like watching reviews and stuff like that, and maybe seeing this or someone talking about this, and they're just bringing out laptops with official support for Linux. They don't need to run Linux out of the box. They could still put Windows on it for like the standard person who just doesn't care about anything else than Windows. But please, Asus, add Linux support. Use hardware which is 100% compatible with the normal Linux kernel. You don't need to go with Libre. Libre is a whole nother branch, and it works on like almost no PC because it really needs to have only parts with open source drivers, and that's very rare. So please improve this, and otherwise it's a very, very nice laptop, and I appreciate using it, and it's so spot on, and it's Pantone validated colors on the display. It's I think about 100% DCI-P color gamut, and yeah, it's just such a nice laptop. One thing I still have issues with is that the enter button on my last laptop was that the hashtag was below the plus, and the enter button was a bit taller. Now it's like shrunken down to like just a small piece, and the hashtag is above it. So something to get used to. But I mean, okay, you get used to it, and it's no issue. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe, comment in the videos if you want to talk about something, if you want me to cover a specific topic, and so see you next time.